Hi, it's Amanda Taro.
And I'm Anita Heath.
And we are
Chelsea
Michelle. And you can get our prequel novella for free in the description below, but we are not talking about this at all today.
No. Today we are talking about a very specific episode of Matlock. So this is part of our mysteries we sample. Is that right? Yep. All right. We're going to get this segment title down.
If you missed it last week, we had the taste test where we talk about the Matlock brand, and now we're talking about a very specific episode, which will have spoilers. So if you do not like spoilers, or if you've not already watched the episode called Brennan, is it season 8, episode 18?
Yes, correct.
You might not want to watch this.
No. So go watch the episode first and then come back and we're going to talk commentary throughout the entire episode. So this is our second segment. There is a Scooby-Doo segment pair already out there live for you to enjoy. And at the end of this one, we'll talk about what's coming up next. But for now, let's talk about Brennan, the Matlock episode. Obviously, I love the show that came up in the last video we did, but Brennan is a new character and I adore him. I don't think he ever comes back into the show, but he should have been a regular.
Yeah,
he is fabulous.
Yeah.
But starting out the episode, you want to kick us off? What are we introduced to?
So we see, was it a city councilwoman who confronts a politician about embezzlement, and she's like, I'm going to go live tomorrow. And she goes live, and then she's strangled to death.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those where we see the murder, but we don't know who did it. And then it cuts over to Brennan, this new DA, and he is from Chicago, I believe. And he's a clown. He is a clown. And he looks guilty from the moment you meet this guy. The kids watched it with me last night, and the entire time I'm like, he did it. The clown did it. The clown did it. The clown did it. And it's not because he was creepy. It was just his character. Derek brought something up. He said, I think he did it because he says he likes the theatrics because you hide behind. And so there was a lot of clues sprinkled throughout that made you think this guy was guilty.
And he was a very complex character.
Yeah. So we're introduced to him. He's a clown, which was just absolutely adorable. I loved his little skit. He just cracked me up. But I also loved watching the kids.
The kids. Oh, I loved that. That was very reminiscent of me. For me, to be like, oh, all the kids, because we used to do a bunch of kid ministries and stuff, and it's just like doing fun things to get the whole crowd to laugh. It's adorable. Yeah.
Well, watching it, I was like, that is my childhood. Like, I dressed exactly like that, because of the timing of the episode. It would have been, I think, late 80s, early 90s at the most. But, the windbreaker suits and the little hair and just hearing their giggles is like, it really does. It's a school event, very, elementary style. So it's really cute. But he is brought out of his thing. Still dressed like a clown. He meets with his boss who gives him this case.
So Brennan's the prosecuting attorney.
Right, there you go.
And Matlock is brought on because it's his neighbor. The politician is his neighbor, and that's who they're accusing of the crime. So obviously he's like, Ben, help me. And so Matlock takes the case because a watch is found in the garage, and he's like, anyone could have slipped that watch in that garage.
I love the way he just slipped that in. He's like, he's a really good neighbor. I borrow his stuff all the time. He never locks that garage, like he just totally slid that in there. Like, this is but it was true. Anybody could have done it. And so let's see. I took notes. That's why I'm looking down here, just trying to remember the flow of the storyline. Oh my goodness. So Matlock gets to meet Brennan in his office, and Brennan's like, hey, do you like hot dogs? And anybody who knows Matlock knows he loves his hot dogs. And so he treats him to Chicago dogs, and they're made right there in his office. He's got a burner, he's cutting up onions, the whole 9 yards, and they're pals, best friends already. They have a lot in common. And again, his character is just one you gravitate toward. Like, I really, really like this guy. So then from there, Brennan is seen at the victim's place, and this was crazy creepy. Leanne shows up because, of course, she's scoping things out, also looking for clues, and Brennan tells her he just wants to get a feel for the victim, and he takes this very personally, and he wants to remember how they felt, and everything about this screams killer. Like, psycho serial killer enjoys thinking about his victim and the pain. Like, it has that, wow. What were you thinking during that scene?
Well, I don't remember the first time, and then the second time I'd already seen it.
So you were aware.
Yeah, but no, it is like very intentional. It's like, okay, he's got something there. This is not just like, there's a reason he's so invested in this. Why? Why is he so invested in this?
Yeah, and you know, when you know he's not guilty, you can see just the value of that. Like, he really does cherish the victim, and he is fighting for the victim. But when you think he's guilty, it's like,
very suspicious.
Yeah, it's really kind of creepy. It's the kind of thing somebody who has lots of dead bodies behind them say. You know, it has that feel to it, so it's kind of weird. But Leanne's a little weirded out by this also, but she finds a clue.
And that's actually like the turning point in the whole show, is she finds this clue, and at that point is when they realize, hey, this is actually likely connected to a completely different case, not even the one that she just accused the guy of embezzling for. It's not even connected to that. It's something completely different.
And in that case, it was somebody was guilty, I believe is how that worked. But the star witness come up missing or had gotten away, and he wasn't supposed to get away, but somebody let him out.
So, yeah, the case was dropped.
Yeah. And Brennan looks really good as the guy who possibly let the witness escape.
Well, because he was the attorney on that case.
Yeah. Yeah, and now Matlock knows it. And so, of course, they're working through that now. And so then he feeds him that bait, which is awesome. Oh, I love that part. So Matlock comes in. Matlock, he's got so many great lines in this entire episode. He comes into the office, and Brandon doesn't look up. He assumes that it's the cleaning lady, and he's like, grab the waste baskets. And Matlock goes, I don't do waste baskets. And then, you know, he confronts him with that, you know, about this old case and everything, and this is not making Brandon happy at all. Like, they're no longer sharing hot dogs.
And,
like
yes, that is the point. It's like, stove's fixed, but it's not open, or whatever.
Right.
But there's also, it's not just that. Another thing that's compounding it is that one of the witnesses for the current murder was a bus driver, and then Matlock finds a gardener who says, well, there wasn't anyone running out of that house. Right. And so it's a very flimsy witness in that case.
Right. You know something that's never brought up. So the witness saw somebody run out of the house, right? And then the gardener says, no, nobody came in and out of the house while I was here. And I'm going, then how did the murderer actually get out of the house? Because there was a murderer there. So maybe he waited until the gardener left?
Probably, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he would have to. But so clearly the bus driver was lying. So he's been paid off. But we don't know by who. And we assume Brennan, because Brennan's looking guilty for a lot.
And so around that time, Matlock's confronting him, being like, hey, I know about this and that, and, you know.
And so he does check in, and I love this. He checks in with the bus driver. Like, he visits his wife, and his wife has these beautiful bouquet, like, what, 3 dozen roses? $180. Gracious. Like, yeah, these people, I don't want that many flowers. Ever. Anyways, buy me a Christmas tree for $180. Not a live one, please. But anyway, I'm looking for a new Christmas tree.
Hint, hint. Who do I need to send this video to?
Yeah.
All right, we digress.
Sorry, I've been browsing. So Matlock, let's see, back to Matlock. The flowers, yes. So he visits the wife, and this is happening off screen, but he visits the wife, finds out that husband has brought all these flowers in, and she doesn't know where the money come from.
It's a bonus.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Yeah. And so he confronts the bus driver with this. And the bus driver, feeling the heat, kind of walks away, dropping this address book. And which is something nobody carries anymore.
This is true.
So Matlock, of course, looks it up and finds out that Brennan's office is listed in there.
Without any, it's just a number.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so once again, he's confronting Brennan about this. And he's even went to Brennan's boss and showed him, like, there's a connection between these two. This guy should not be on this case.
It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah. So it definitely looks like Brennan might throw this case in order to get away from that one. And so then we head to court.
Right before court,
Mm-hmm.
Brennan calls someone and says, we need to talk.
Yeah.
I totally was not thinking
No.
of who he called.
No. And it's, like, even better than that, he's dressed up in his clown paint.
Yes.
Which, again, screams psycho. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is nuts. And he's got the tear, and
Right.
you're like, man, somebody is about to die. Even my kids were like, no, he called the bus driver to go kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
To go kill Matlock. That's what they said. They said that he called the bus driver to go kill Matlock because Matlock knows too much, and he's got to go. And I was like, I mean, that's brilliant.
I mean,
deduction.
and the other option could be the wife of the witness who disappeared from the other case.
Yeah.
Because Brennan had met with her.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's all these people he could have met with.
Yeah. And so it's so awesome. It's just the way they did it.
It was brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. And even leading up to that, like, they got the music going and they're showing, like, the clown paint, and then you look up and he's all decked out, and you're not expecting this at all. He's got his big tear. He's really troubled, and then he reaches for the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody's head's gonna roll.
Yep. And so when they get to the courthouse, this was what was brilliant. 'Cause
Oh, yes,
at that point, Brennan's going, you're going to hear. You're going to hear. You're going to see evidence. You're going to hear. And I'm like, because at some point I was thinking, well, maybe he's second guessing. Maybe he's, you know, he knows he can't get out of it. But then whenever he starts going on all that, it's like, okay, he's just digging himself a deeper hole.
Yeah.
And then he ends it with, but that's all wrong.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like, he just sunk his own case.
Yeah. Which makes Matlock furious because he thinks he's just throwing this case, you know. And so they head in there to talk to the judge, and they have this big fight, which is hilarious. Again, Matlock has all the best lines in that one. I love that one because he's talking to Brennan's boss in the chambers with the judge, and Leanne's there, and Brennan's boss is there.
That was a great,
Yeah.
great quote.
He says, your fair-haired boy, Jerry, needs a bath because he's gotten real dirty. It is awesome. And it's just classic Matlock to lose his temper in that humorous way. And there was some other, so the judge said something about slapping a citation or something on him.
I don't know. I like that slapping part.
That's great. Oh, and there was another line that the kids were cracking up on. If the shoe fits, wear it. But the way he said it was all kinds of country.
The shoe fits, wear it and wine.
Yeah. It was hilarious. The kids thought it was great.
I told you I had all this stuff up here.
Yeah, you're doing
I'm
it.
surprising you.
She is. Okay, so there's this big explosion in the chambers, and Brennan is pleading his case. He says there is a connection between these two. So the witness who had disappeared, he's supposed to be coming back, and he's going to be meeting with the wife. And Brennan is saying, you know, when we figure out that case, who's guilty there, we'll solve this one. Right. And so they've determined that much. Matlock is still convinced that Brennan is up to no good, and he's
Supposedly.
Yeah. Right. And you know, so then it changes over. That he's called for a recess. The judge actually grants this and says, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. And then we go to the bar where the missing witness is going to meet the wife. And so we see him come out, and we see the murderer come out. Ready.
And at that point, you see who it is.
Yeah.
It would have been neat if they would have prolonged it one.
I know.
Like,
I
extra
think they
scene.
should have. Yeah, I totally think they should.
You know,
have.
it's like I think they should have had him come out of the car and go into the restaurant.
Yes.
And into the bathroom, and then you see who it is.
Yeah. Or you see, you know, it would have been even better, like because he kicks the door and Brennan is in the stall. So
Yes.
that should have been when we saw it. Like,
Yes.
because we think it's Brennan anyways.
Yes.
And then, so go back, guys, and redo this episode.
Yes.
Fix this one scene. But yeah, that would have been brilliant, you know, because Brennan's in the stall.
And he's the one who caught his boss.
Yeah, and so, yeah, to turn the camera around then.
Which was brilliant how they did it, because whenever he was coming, he was scanning underneath to see where he would have been, which actually was a wrong shot, because he would have seen the shadow of the man standing on the toilet.
Really?
The way the lighting was, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, because you see the bowl, the shadow of the bowl.
Okay.
So you would have seen the shadow. So that was yeah. I'm gonna call it videography error there.
I never noticed.
But then he goes to the stall where Brennan is, and he sees the legs, and so then he like busts in with a gun, and they're on top of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was very cleverly done. That was a very
Yeah.
clever way to get him to prove that he was the one who was actually behind all of this.
Right. You do see a lot of that type of thing in Matlock and Murder, She Wrote. Like, they kind of set up a clue, you know, and then the guilty person goes back to pick up their earring or whatever, and then they're nabbed.
Yeah.
Trying to, you know, do away with evidence or whatever, which obviously is what he was trying to do. But the star witness had never showed up. That was just somebody else playing a role. And yeah, so we don't know anything about the first case, except now we know. Well, no, we do, because I bet he was guilty in the first case.
Oh, the same guy. Yep.
Yeah, he probably was, actually. So, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I love, that's one of my favorite episodes. The Chicago Dogs. Matlock is fabulous in it.
And the closing scene. So, what's his daughter's name?
Leanne
is giving him a hard time about, you know, in the judge's office, you were a little over the top with your acting. So it ends with him putting spicy peppers on her dog. He's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, man. His fight reflex. Oh, yeah. His fight reflex is strong.
Yeah, I think that's why I like him.
Probably so.
But this is, if you haven't watched other Matlock episodes, you're definitely missing out. They're great. And there's also a lot of wonderful, memorable characters. Yeah.
And if you have watched them, let me know your favorites, because I don't have time to sit there and watch the whole thing.
She does. It just takes a while. That's all.
It'll take me 10 years.
That's okay. I've been watching them my whole 40 years. I've been watching them. It's cool.
Anyway, let me know your favorite episodes, and I will watch it.
I'll bring you a list.
Yeah, so, and, okay, so coming up next, we want your help. So, the last two, Scooby-Doo and Matlock, were brand new for me. So the next two are going to be brand new for Anita. And we're going between, actually there's three we're kind of going between. Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which is a Hallmark mystery, older Hallmark mystery. And then Sue Thomas, FBI, which is not a Hallmark, but it's very clean. It's a very clean, family-friendly show, for the most part, if you like suspense. And then Nancy Drew Computer Games by Her Interactive. So, yes, I'm going to introduce her to two of those for the next two videos. So let me know which two you think that I should introduce her to first. And so that's what's coming the next time we do Mystery Zoo Sample.
I was talking a lot. I thought you might want to step in.
Yeah. Actually, I had a thought, and I'm trying to regain what that thought was. It's a good thing we edit these videos.
But can you imagine? I think that character
It's still on there. I apologize for my houseflies. They aren't polite.
That is hilarious. At least it didn't get in my mouth.
Oh, that would have been
not funny.
No.
Not funny.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Busting in on somebody in the bathroom.
That's what's coming next time we do our little table talk and... Wait, what's it called?
Taste test.
Mysteries we sample.
Yes. Mysteries we sample. Bye, y'all.
I think I cut it out with a bye. Whatever.
Yeah.